the goodness of the night upon you, friends.
I pray you, sir, are you fast married?
Othello is the story of a man who rises to greatness and then falls from that greatness because he listens to rumors.
Though I perchance am vicious in my guess, as I confess, it is my nature's plague to spy into abuses, and oft my jealousy shapes faults that are not.
You know, you think he's this well-respected guy and he really loves his wife, and without barely even talking to her, just by listening to all these rumors, you know, he ends up killing her.
The reason I chose Othello, and the reason I like doing Othello for high school, is because they are very worried about reputation.
I have lost my reputation. I have lost the immortal part of myself, and what remains is bestial. My reputation, Iago. My reputation.
As I'm an honest man, I thought you'd receive some bodily wound. There's more offense in that than in reputation.
Reputation and jealousy, topics like that, since they're so inherent to the human condition, I suppose, it really is something that applies throughout time. It's not something that's time period specific.
Rumors start like in high school, just like they started in Othello. Iago planted the rumor and it just went and spiraled out of control, and that happened a lot here.
We began with lining up everyone in the classroom, and we went from, do you think reputation is important or do you not?
I had them line up according to where they fell on that spectrum. And I had some kids who were adamant, reputation means nothing. And I had other kids who weren't willing to say, oh, it's everything, but pretty darn close.
Me personally, I was like kind of in the middle, but more towards where I do care about what people think, and I think my reputation's important.
Like a lot of groups were in the middle about it, and I know one group was like, reputation doesn't matter at all. So I felt that we were a lot different. We were the only one that said, yeah, it's super important.
And then they were supposed to make an iMovie using only music, text, and images to convey their meaning of reputation and why it matters to an authentic audience of their peers.
Ours was that, you know, your reputation matters and you can build it up like a balloon with your character, and then one single event can ruin that reputation or pop the balloon. But what really matters is how you react or tape up the balloon, and like how your character is really what defines that.
Well, I wanted to bring in an authentic audience of high school kids. One, because they're a very tough audience. They're not going to be real easy like a group of teachers may. And two, because they didn't know anything about Othello. And the seniors then who've done this project have to make this relevant. They have to realize they don't know the story. How am I going to show them what the story's like and why reputation matters? I think the peer evaluation forms are very, very important, because now they're going to see what the audience really thinks. And we do get some silly ones that, you know, they can throw out, but for the most part, the kids are very honest. What I would have done in the past is I would have assigned them a paper. Tell me about the role of reputation in Othello. And then they would have gone, sat by themselves, collected their evidence from the text, and written a paper. But now, due to project-based learning, now I'm letting them speak to other kids and apply what they've learned from Othello to, you know, our world today, see our world in the text of Othello, and then present that to a younger audience. They have to now decide what is my message, and how am I going to get that out to all these people? The creativity has to come out. They avoid it, they don't like it, it's not what they've been trained over the years. It's kind of hard to take a senior and say, okay, now it's time to be creative. They rebel a little bit. But it's so necessary, and once they get into the project, once the project becomes real and becomes meaningful to them, the creativity comes out. I love the Common Core standards, I do. It's everything that I've wanted to do, and I feel like the old standards kind of held me back from that a little bit. Good writing is good writing, good speaking is good speaking. We all know what it looks like, but I think the Common Core standards let the kids do more close reading than I think the old standards. The old standards kind of limited them to a 2-point or a 4-point question. Now it opens it up. I really do like the Common Core standards. I see Othello as having an underlying weak personality. Most people don't, and a lot of kids would argue about whether he was weak to begin with or whether he was a strong character and just able to be manipulated. So I like for the kids to argue with me. So multiple interpretations of a story are definitely one that I like to use. Collaboration, using multiple sources, using digital media, all of those are Common Core standards that I was hoping would come out in this project.
I think it's a lot easier being able to use like the voice recordings and stuff like that rather than standing up there and making a poster and having to hold it up and have note cards and talk and in front of a class that you really don't. I mean, you don't practice it, and it's just a lot easier to be able to record yourself and get, you know, timing exactly how you want it with your video.
We never got together outside of class. We just correlated in class, and like I would text someone and be like, oh, I'm getting on Google Docs and doing this, and then they would get on and after me and fix whatever, and I would email the PowerPoint that we used for our movie, and then they would like email it back to me with the comments, and then I would fix it. So we never got together. We used based solely on like texting each other to tell us when to do things.
It helped a lot. Especially with internet-based applications. Google Drive especially was awesome, just because of the fact that if any of us had any type of media to share with one another, whether it be a video or a document or an image of some sort, we could share it with each other instantly, and we could have access to it on any devices that we had, whether it was PC or Mac.
I know one major thing that Miss Marvin always talks to us about is if a word comes up that we don't know or an allusion to something that we've never heard of comes up, the first thing she always says when we have our iPads out is, you've got the world at your fingertips. Because with encyclopedias, you know, it would be a lot more difficult to have to look all that up. But the use of iPads in the classroom and being able to go into the library and the computer lab really helps, because, you know, we can research stuff instantly. We can pull up all these pictures that we have to use and the songs we have to use on our projects, you know, just like that, just download them and put them on our PowerPoint.
They have to think on their feet, and they have to collaborate, and they have to know how to collaborate. And I think that's going to be very important as they move into the job market. I think a lot of job interviews, they're going to be asked, how do you work with others? And I think now that the more opportunities we give them to work with others, the easier it's going to be for them to do that.